Hello, everybody. My name is Ariane Cornell, Senior Director of Orbital and Astronaut Sales here at Blue Origin. I'm joined by Nicholas Patrick, who is our Senior Director of Human Integration, and for our flight, he will be our Lead Flight Director. Nick, you're a busy gentleman. Thank you so much for your time. Why don't you give us a little bit about your background as well as a little bit of background on the flight? Who's flying with us?
Absolutely. Well, my background is I've been a flight director for 2 years now. I am the lead flight director for New Shepard Flight 18, along with Neil Camphouse, who's our rollout flight director, and we're representing the entire mission control team today. My background, I was a NASA astronaut for about 14 years and flew twice on the space shuttle. I came to Blue Origin 9 years ago and have been working on the design of the crew capsule, the astronaut experience, astronaut training, and general human factors for the company. So I've had varied jobs and enjoyed them all here at Blue Origin.
Why don't you talk about who's flying on New Shepard?
We have 4 astronauts on NS-18. First, we're flying our very own Audrey Powers, Vice President of New Shepard Operations. She's also been a Vice President in our legal department. She's an engineer, a pilot, and a former NASA flight controller. So we're very excited about flying Audrey. We have 2 customers on this flight. First is Chris Bosshausen, founder of Planet Labs and a former NASA engineer. Then Glenn DeVries, who is the co-founder of Metadata and a pilot. And we're also flying on NS-18 William Shatner, Captain Kirk, somebody who's been responsible, I think, for inspiring millions of us to be interested in space exploration and spaceflight in general, and somebody certainly who inspired me to get into this business.
And Nick, one of the big stories down here in Texas has been the weather. We had quite some gusty winds recently. Do you want to give us an update on the weather and how we're looking for flight?
We had originally planned to launch today, as you know. The forecast 2 days ago told us that this would be a difficult day, both from the point of view of surface winds, which affect the personnel preparing the vehicle for launch, and the winds aloft were also a little outside our limits. So we decided to defer launch by 1 day. Here we are now preparing to launch tomorrow morning instead. I think that was a good decision. We've also slipped the launch by just 30 minutes for tomorrow because the tail end of today's winds affect rollout very early tomorrow morning. So we're now launching at 0900 Central Time.
And how's the rest of the vehicle looking? Obviously, we had an extra day to make sure everything was all set. How are you looking?
It turns out we didn't need the extra day for the vehicle. We passed the flight readiness review on Sunday. We took a very careful look at the vehicle, its systems, software, hardware, launch personnel, and so on, and everything is in good shape for launch tomorrow. We had a small meeting this morning to go over any changes, and there's really nothing to report from that meeting other than things will still go for launch tomorrow.
Fantastic. Now let's turn it back to the astronauts for a moment. They have already been through 1 full day of training. They're going to continue their training today.
Yes.
You actually were one of the original designers of the training. Do you want to talk a little bit about what they've gone through already, how it's been going, what they're going to be talking about today?
Yes. Well, first, our astronauts had their first day of training the day before yesterday per the normal schedule. That went well. They had essentially a day off yesterday because of the slip, and they're back into the normal L-1 training, that is the day before launch training today. That is apparently going very well. It's on track, and we'll get a final report on the status of that training before rollout tomorrow morning. The training itself was designed to do 3 things for our astronauts. The first thing is it's designed to train them on the safety systems that we have on board the crew capsule and the expected responses from the crew if we were to have an emergency, and that's to meet FAA requirements for training. The second thing the launch training does, and this is often overlooked, is it's there to sort of prepare the crew for the unexpected aspects of spaceflight, the noises, the bumps, the accelerations, the interesting things that happen that are perfectly normal but unexpected for a first-time astronaut. And that training helps you get comfortable with the flight and really enjoy the experience rather than constantly asking, what was that? And the third thing the training does is it teaches the crew how to behave in zero-G, how to move around the cabin without bumping each other or kicking each other, what handholds to use, the kinds of things they can expect from zero-G and their response to it. So the training is designed to meet those 3 requirements. I think it does a very good job of that. The folks who are giving this training, our crew member 7s, are experts. They give a great training presentation, and I'm very confident that we will learn tomorrow that this training has gone well for these 4 astronauts, and we will be ready to launch them.
Nick, your team and you did a great job on designing the training. I was fortunate enough to go through it myself, actually. And one of the wonderful things about it I found was not only did I walk away feeling absolutely comfortable in the team, in the rocket, but also in my own ability to be an astronaut and fly on New Shepard.
I found the same thing when I took the training in one of the early runs. It is great for increasing confidence in your own abilities, and that's, of course, the primary purpose of training. But it's important to remember that the training is also part of the experience out here. You get to do things in the training that you may not do in the flight, and you get to repeat them. And so it's one of the things I think I certainly walked away from NASA with, was a really strong and fond memory of all of my training events. They're part of the experience, and I know that our astronauts will walk away with more to tell about spaceflight because of this training.
Well, let's look to launch day. What should we expect?
Well, launch day starts really with rollout about 7.5 hours before liftoff. We have a separate flight director for that because it's a long day. And Neil Camphouse, will make the decision to roll out based on winds, astronaut readiness, the final evaluation, and vehicle readiness. About T-minus 3 hours, we'll move into propellant load. That is loading the liquid hydrogen and the liquid oxygen onto the vehicle, fueling it for launch. About T-minus 45 minutes, assuming we pass all of the criteria at this decision gate, we will give the go for astronaut load. T-minus 15, we'll give the go to set the capsule to escape enabled, which is where it now has the capability to escape from the stack, should that be required. And then about T-minus 10 minutes, we'll conduct a go poll for terminal count and launch. And that's really the final gate at which everything has to be just perfect for us to launch the vehicle at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Fantastic. So what I'm hearing, we sound ready to go. The rocket's ready, team's ready. Weather seems ready, so let's cross our fingers for that. You feeling good?
I am feeling good. The rocket's ready, as you said. The capsule's ready. The team is ready. But we will not launch unless we are absolutely sure that the vehicle is ready to go at each one of those gates I described as we get towards 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. Well, Nick, thank you so much for your time. It's an incredibly busy day for you. Thanks so much for joining us, and go New Shepard.
Go New Shepard.